Today's project is a European skull mount on a budget. Trying to save some taxidermy fees and do it ourselves. It's a good way to keep that trophy that you harvested without paying a taxidermist. It's a little time consuming, but in the end, it's a trophy. So there's some prep work that went ahead, but I'm going to do it today, and I'm just going to use a fish fryer out on the back deck and boil the skull out. But I'll show you the prep work that I did ahead of time. So the prep work that I had to do is I had to skin out the skull and take all of the cartilage off. I took the lower jawbone off. I still have a little meat back here, and that's what I'm going to get this off first. And then, you know, of course, you can see the red meat that's still on the skull, and we want to get all of that off. Took the eyeballs out because it's just one less thing that I have to do later. They're a little tough getting out of there. And to skin the skull up around these antlers is the best way I found to do it is when you cut it with a razor, take a screwdriver and stick underneath it there, and then just start prying it off. And it comes off pretty clean. So then when I get it to this point, I can wait a couple of days, which I didn't have time to do this for a couple of days, so this skull's been sitting outside. And then now we're to the point where I can boil all this meat off. And once I get all that meat off of there, then I can let it dry and start whitening the skull. So as you can see, I got a aluminum foil around there where it's hanging off the edges. And I did a little extra. I may not even need it, but I don't want to take a chance on it discoloring. And if you look down here in the bottom, there's a kicker that's touching the back. So when that neck meat down there, when I fill this up with water and I get it boiling, I don't want to boil the antlers. But when that meat starts to fall off, this thing may shift. So I got to pay attention to it. And I don't want that to fall down in the water and start boiling, because I want that dark patina that's on these antlers to stay on there. You know, if you start wiping them down, you may lose some of that. And I kind of like that dark color. It's going to stand out real good against that white skull when it's all said and done. So this is my setup. I filled it with water, got the burner going. It's already starting to steam, but a little bit. But I'm going to let it get boiling. I've got that burner on high. I just want to let it cook all that neck meat off. And when it gets done, you know, it should just fall right off the bone and everything. We can dump that water out, put fresh water in it, start over with the skull completely down, submerged in the water. And I know some people say that they don't like the way it smells while it's cooking. I have at one time put some seasonings in there just so it smells better while it's boiling. But we're just going to let it do its thing, and then after it's done, we'll show you how we clean it all off. Okay, so it's been boiling for about 2.5 hours or so. I keep having to add water because it's evaporating, but I'm going to try and see if I can get some of this neck meat off the back. I don't know how close it is to being done. Looks like it's still got a good ways to go yet. But if I can get that meat off, yeah, it's still not ready, so we're going to give it some more time. Just keep adding water as it's boiling. And eventually it'll boil that loose. So add more water now. So to speed this process up, I'm going to go ahead and cut that neck off. It's pretty much cooked. The bone's showing. So all I'm going to do is sit up here and cut that neck bone off. Get that meat off of there. Just grab a knife and cut the meat off. That bone should come right off. Gotta get all this meat off of it. Start the cartilage right there. It's hot. So I got that last little piece of neck bone off of there. Put this meat that's cooked off there. It's pretty tender, so it comes off pretty easy. So now I should be able to set this whole skull right down in that boiling water. I'm going to add some more water to it, and then get the top of the skull, make sure that it's getting boiled too, and then we're going to boil the rest of the meat off the rest of the skull, and then we'll go from there. As you can see, I got the skull completely engulfed in that hot water. It's boiling away, and we're boiling the meat off the skull and cooking everything else that's on there so that we can get it off there easily, including the brain that's inside there. We're going to have to cook that so that it's good and firm, and then we can stick something up in there and get that out of there. And then we'll let it dry after that and start whitening it after we get everything off of it. So I had to stop yesterday because I had to leave. I had some things I had to do. So what I did is I just left the head in the pot, made sure it was completely covered with water so that that meat stayed soft. Today I come out, took the head out. I'm going to saran wrap those antlers, the base of the antlers, and then tape that closed, because I'm going to add some borax to the water today to try and get some more of that meat off. We're going to get the meat off of the skull today, let it dry, and then we'll start the whitening process. Okay, fresh water, borax. Cost a whole whopping $5 at Walmart. I'm going to put a cup of borax in there and then get her to boiling, and then we'll just keep checking on it, adding water as it starts to steam out. Okay, we are fresh out of the boiling pot. As you can see, it's got most all the meat off. There is some little pieces still on here. We're going to try and clean them up, get these little pieces out. There's not a whole lot left on there. I got some that I got to get out of there. While it was boiling, I took a pair of forceps, so you can use needle nose, and I broke out a bunch of this cartilage that's going to yellow anyway. That's in the sinus cavity, so we want to get it out of there. And then I'm going to take a screwdriver. The easiest access to the brain. Some people want to take and put a screwdriver here in the ear canal and bust that out, and bust out part of the bottom of the skull to get to the brain. But you can also just take a screwdriver and you can feel the brain in there and just mash it up, and it will come out because you've cooked it. So you just mash it up and then just start shaking. It will come out. It's kind of like a nasty paste, but it will come out. So you just keep working to get all that out of there, and then we're going to get all the meat off of there, and then we'll show you how to whiten it up. Okay, so I got done cleaning it all off. Took the screwdriver, went in, smashed the brain, tried to get most of it, scoop most of it out. It's kind of pasty, so it's hard to do. This vertebrae right here is pretty greasy, so I scraped it with a knife to try and get down to the hard bone to get the cartilage off of it. Still some of it coming off, but it will dry out. Go with an X-Acto knife or a knife right here. This is pretty tough. It's hard. It's like gristle, and it doesn't want to come out. So you're going to kind of scrape that out. When I was done, I just took and shot water down through here to get the rest of the brain to come out. And then now it's nice and clean on the inside in there. And scraped all this with a wire brush. Whole $3 at the hardware store. So far, the money I have tied up in this is $5 for borax, $3 for a wire brush. Now that I'm to this point, I can let it dry. I'm gonna let it dry for a few hours. I went to a beauty supply store and got the 40% peroxide. It's just called 40 volume clear. And then I got this quick white. This was a whole $5, and this bucket is a powder, and it was like 19 bucks. So total cost were like right around $30 for this mount, and when it's all said and done, it beats the heck out of a $120 mounting fee for somebody else to do it. And you can show people that you did this yourself. So I'm gonna take before and after pictures after I get the whitening done. I'll do the whitening process on camera, mix my stuff, show you how I paste it on there, and then we'll wipe it off, and we'll take a picture of it now and take a picture of it when it's done. Okay, we're going to mix the 40% peroxide take some of that quick white powder and put it here. We want to get like a paste. So I'm wearing the rubber gloves because if this stuff gets on you, it will burn. Get there. Okay. So as you can see, it's kind of a milky paste. And we're going to paint this on that skull. Whatever you do, I taped this up so that I didn't get any of this on there, because you get any of this on there and it's going to whiten those antlers. So I'm not real confident in my painting skills. So we're going to cover every little nook and cranny with this stuff. And I'm going to try and keep it off of the antlers itself, but paint it on top of the skull. Everything we want white. And coat it on there as thick as I can. And get it down in these, every nook and cranny. Just kind of get it in there. If you were wanting to age the deer, you'd have to use the lower jaw, and then you cannot whiten it because it takes away from the stuff on the teeth. If you get any on your gloves, don't touch the antlers. Remember, it will. So anyway, I'm gonna coat this whole thing, and then I'll show you when it's done. When we get it done coated, I'm gonna let it sit for a couple of days, and we'll come back and clean it up, and we'll see how white it is. Okay, there it is, all painted up. And as you can see right there, that'd be why I taped up them antlers. I got that stuff all over everything. But we're gonna let this dry for a couple of days, and then we'll clean it off and we'll see how white it is. It should be done. We'll clean up our mess and we'll see what happens. Total invested in this mount, I think, is right around $32. It's $5 for the borax. It was $18 for this, well, $19. And this was a whole $5. And then I bought a wire brush, just a small one, for like $3 or $4 at the hardware store. And then like a $2 paintbrush. Nothing special, nothing fancy. But it's a heck of a lot cheaper than sending it to a taxidermist. So we'll see what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so I didn't wait 48 hours. It's been about 24 hours and the stuff's dried up and flaking off, so I'm going to go ahead and just try and brush it off just to see. I might have to use a wire brush a little bit. I probably will. I'm going to grab the wire brush and I'll go ahead and brush this off and kind of clean it up a little bit, and when I'm done I will show you the finished product. Okay, here it is finished. We got all the stuff off of it. Turned out pretty white. I'll put a before and after picture up at the end of this video. But now I've got a nice trophy that I made myself that I can, you know, show off. I only got like $30 invested in it. So if you like the video, please hit like, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching When Nature Calls. And now I gotta go find me a place to put this in the living room.
You're not putting that in the living room.
But honey, that's what I made it for.